Hey everybody, today we're debating the shape of the Earth, and we are starting right now. Ladies and gentlemen, thrilled to have you here for another epic debate, as today we are debating the shape of the Earth, flat versus globe. And if it's your first time here, consider hitting that subscribe button, as this is the first of many more debates to come. So we are very excited to let you know it's also the first time of our guests here today. We are so excited to have them. Both Toon and The Plain Truth, first time on for an epic topic, and I want to let you know they're linked in the description. So if you're listening and you're like, I want to hear more, well, good luck, or good news, you can hear plenty more by clicking those links in the description. So with that, I want to let you know the format, and then we're going to jump right into this pretty quick. So first, it's going to have a 10-minute opening statement, like roughly, from Toon, followed by a 10-minute opening from The Plain Truth. Then we're doing a new format. So it's going to be kind of like a presentation of a claim, and that'll be, we can, in that case, start with Toon on the first one, and then The Plain Truth and Toon will discuss that, and then we'll flip it, so the presentation of the claim will be from The Plain Truth, followed by discussion between the both of them on that point, and we'll just keep alternating. You'll see. If you don't understand it, you'll get it as we go. I promise. Believe me. Okay, so we'll finish with general Q&A. So if you have a question, fire that into the live chat, and make sure to just tag me with an @ModernDayDebate. That helps for me to make sure I don't miss it. And super chat's always an option as well. If you want to do a super chat, your super chat will go to the top of the list, and it also gives you the opportunity to make a comment toward one of the speakers. Although, as always, we ask if you could be your friendly selves, as we really appreciate these guys being here. It's like they could go all sorts of places in debate, but they're hanging out with us tonight, and so we just want to honor them. So we're glad to have you guys. And with that, I'm going to set the timer for your 10-minute opening statement, Toon, and the floor is all yours. Thanks again for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, James, and I'm glad to have you here as well, Travis, The Plain Truth. Well, I don't, it won't be very long on this opening. The Earth is a sphere. We've known that as humans for quite a few centuries, and observations and measurements show that it is a sphere, and sending things into space is pretty awesome and hard to do if it's not a sphere. All that math doesn't work out so well. So I will show, we're going to have just one thing here that I'm going to present, but I'll show pretty solid evidence for a sphere. I do have a channel myself on YouTube here in the description. I do a debate typically every Tuesday at this time. So today is not on my channel; it's on this channel, and glad to be here. So if you want to see more of my debates, go ahead over to my channel and have a look. And that's all I have.
You bet. Short and sweet, thanks very much. And now we will kick it over to The Plain Truth for his opening statement as well. Thanks for being here. Oh, you might be. Let me check that you're not on mute.
No, I was just, yeah, I'm back. Am I here?
You betcha.
All right. Oh, that's so Fargo. Yeah, thanks for having me, James and Toon. Good to see you again. So here is my a little bit more extensive opening. What is it that causes objects viewed over both aquatic and terrestrial distance to look as though said objects are being obscured from the bottom up? I call this the bottom-up fallacy. More on that to follow. In my 18 months of collecting observations of birds, houses, lighthouses, boats, islands, and oil platforms, I can honestly report that I have never observed an object disappearing from the bottom up. What I have observed and presented in my channel's numerous videos is whole objects being distorted, and that with a gradient variation. A gradient variation is the distortion of the observation occurring either in stasis or motion concurrent with its entrance into what I have called the ether band. Everybody drink. The ether band simply refers to the medium through which the observation is being made. Band refers to that micro or macro field of view in which the observation is. For instance, with the Channel Islands, an observation either of the entire archipelago can be made, or one can narrow it down to the, say, natural 40-foot arch or the lighthouse. Aether refers to simply the air and all that constitutes its nature. For example, but not limited to, evaporation, condensation, wind, temperature, air pressure, humidity. Since the ether band is ubiquitous, its gradient is three-dimensional. And the only two variables controlled by the observer are distance and height. It is these two variables which demonstrate, that's what I was looking over. It is these two variables which determine how much and when the object will begin to be distorted. The bottom-up fallacy basically begs the question that the object is disappearing from the bottom up due to physical obstruction. So, it is alleged, we see boats go over the curve and disappear from the bottom up because the Earth is curved. Therefore, if boats disappear from the bottom up, they're going over the curve of the Earth. Or, therefore, part two, since the Earth is curved, boats will eventually sail, not tee-hee, titter, tee-hee, not over the edge, tee-hee, but across the threshold of the horizon and disappear from the bottom up. In fact, it is said, legend has it, Aristotle himself claimed to see ships go over the horizon or curve of the Earth. Is this verifiable? Is this secondhand information? How large was this ship? What was the great rhetorician's viewer height? Was he aided by an artificial oculus? Hear this now and never forget it. No human with the unaided eye is able to view with any semblance of acuity a maritime vessel going over the curve. No eye has that kind of acuity. At a certain point in the distance, the perception of the hull in the water becomes blurred and irresolvable with the naked eye. Not only this, but any aid to see farther into the distance will run into the same problem. We can't see as far as we might think. This opening statement will present an alternative explanation to the fallacious claim summed up by the alleged astronomer Michelle Thaler. It's not okay to believe the Earth is flat. One of the simplest proofs that you can do is yourself take a pair of binoculars and go out to the lake. And if there are boats on that lake, the farther away those boats are, the less and less of the bottoms of those boats will be visible until eventually only the mast is visible. The very last thing you will see is the very top of the mast going over the horizon. And that's because it's curved. But is there an alternative explanation? I will present my argument with evidence that there is an alternative explanation. But first, a preliminary question. If we are engaged in scientific discovery, I have a question for all of the boat over the curve proponents. What alternative explanations were eliminated in order to arrive at the exclusive conclusion that boats sailing into the distance, disappearing from the bottom up, do so because they are indeed crossing a physical threshold? My alternative explanation for the bottom-up fallacy is this. Objects moving into the distance are distorted by the manifold and diverse effects of the ether band. These effects are all related to refraction and their expressions in the broad category of mirage. Obstruction is never due to the curve of the Earth. It is only ever and always will be due to the effects of the ether band. I'm done.
You got it. Thanks very much. We appreciate it from the plain truth. We will now move into this First time ever we've done this format. First time guest, first time with this format. Presentation of a claim. So we'll kick it back over to Toon. We'll give him a chance to make his short claim, and then we'll have a short duration of discussion. Now, for this, Toon, did I understand, would you prefer for the discussion to be timed so that we don't spend too much time on one discussion for one claim?
Yeah, that's probably good, so that we can give fair time to both.
You got it. Okay. And with that, maybe a few minutes sounds good?
Sure.
All right. The floor is yours.
All right. I'd like to present my screen here.
You bet.
Let me find the right window. All right. Do you see my window?
Yes.
There it is.
2019 December.
All
solstice.
right. Yeah, there it is. So, so Eratosthenes is often given credit for measuring the radius of the Earth. Sometimes people confuse that people claim that he was somehow confirming the shape of the Earth. He was not. That was already figured out, already known before that. So going into his experiment, that was an assumption. So if that wasn't an assumption, then the measurement that he made using the angle of the sun as it cast a shadow on the ground, that would work potentially for any shape Earth. But when you have more than one measurement, then that narrows down your possibilities. So what we did is 3 of us measured the length of shadows on the December solstice at the local solar noon. And so on my website at mctoon.net/2019-December-solstice, there's some information, pictures of the observation I made, and then a link to a spreadsheet where all of our data is collected. So let's see. I think that you can see that. So we took the latitude here, this 45.02, that was my particular latitude, and the angle, let's see, the length of the shadow was 3 feet. The length of the stick was 1.2 feet. The angle of elevation, 22.5. Second measurement was, let me see here. All right, so mine, I'll stick with that one first. If we assume that the Earth is flat, that gives a sun elevation of 3,047.85 kilometers. That's because we know the distance to the Tropic of Capricorn, and we can solve a right triangle. The 90 degrees from the subsolar point up to the sun, and we have the angle at our spot, and then we have the distance. So we have angle, side angle. We can solve that triangle. We get a height of 3,047 kilometers. The second measurement was at 45.57 latitude. The angle was 21.64, giving an elevation of 3,162 kilometers. The third location was 31.35 degrees north latitude, and giving the sun elevation over a flat Earth of 4,468 kilometers. So none of these match. The 2 latitudes that were both at 45, but only about half a degree apart, were both pretty close. But even those were pretty far outside of any kind of a slop error. And then you get the one from 31 degrees is pretty far off. Now, all of these measurements aren't unusual. They are just primary evidence of the measurements that we know work when you go to suncalc.net or timeanddate.com to see what the angle is of the sun. They are all within about half a degree. Our measurements aren't as precise as theirs, of course, and we can do better with more precise measurements. We hope to do in March. We're going to repeat this measurement again. So now if we assume flat Earth, you see there we get a 29% error in the elevation. Pretty far off. If we instead assume that the sun is far and the Earth is a sphere, we get a radius. Each of these gives a radius. Let me see here. This is in the way. There it is. They all give a radius of the Earth of 6,400 kilometers. The percentage, the radius difference is 27 kilometers different in all three. That's it. That's the whole percentage difference that we have. The whole number difference in kilometers. The percentage difference is 0.4% difference. Pretty good agreement there if we assume that the Earth is a sphere. So that's confirming the shape of the Earth to be a sphere. So we tested both sphere and flat. The flat did not work and the sphere did. So let me see, how do I get out of this?
So there's usually at the bottom a green, or I should say wherever you originally clicked it, whether it be the bottom or the right, that green rectangle that'll say share or stop sharing. Otherwise, I can pull you out too. It's not a problem. Piece of cake.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
And we're out.
There we go. So we are going to repeat this measurement in March with more people. We have some people lined up to do it from Rwanda, people from South Africa, New Zealand, Australia. Nobody yet from like Chile or Argentina. So if anybody out there wants to participate, let me know. We're doing it with Billy Zig. Actually, he's doing a Measure the Earth Day, and I've been talking with him, and we're gonna coordinate with him. He's a flat earther, and we're gonna submit our measurements to whatever website or thing that he's doing to measure the Earth. So that is that's what I have, and ready to discuss.
You got it. So there's about 6.5 minutes. What we'll do is just save that time. That way we'll give each of you 6.5 minutes to make your case. And for the discussion, my guess is it would probably take longer. My guess is maybe 15 minutes might do the trick.
Sure.
All right, we'll give it a shot. Floor is yours, guys.
Okay, so I guess since you presented your case, I can ask a question. Toon, you made the claim that Eratosthenes was not determining the shape of the Earth because it was already determined.
Yeah, that was an assumption going into his measurement.
Okay, so who determined the shape of the Earth prior to Eratosthenes?
I don't know. That was an assumption going into it.
Okay, so how was it determined if it was already determined prior to Eratosthenes? Since Eratosthenes was not measuring the shape of the Earth, how was it already determined?
I don't know. It's not my point.
Okay. All right. So is there a possibility in the measurements that you and your friends made, is there a possibility that there is a variable for which you did not account that affected the measurements you and your friends took?
Yeah, so one particular variable that is the most obvious would be the refraction. Now, at angles above 15 degrees, the amount of refraction is significantly smaller, but there are adjustments for refraction. For example, the 1766 Nautical Almanac. I use this old one because it's old. I love old books. This one says that so for 22 degrees above the horizon, you need to subtract 2.2 arc minutes from your measurement. So that's just over 1/30th of a degree that we are to subtract off. So that's actually that's smaller than the margin of error of our measurements because we have the size of our lines and shadow widths and stuff like that. But when you do subtract that off, it does bring it slightly closer to the measurement from like timeanddate.com. Now, timeanddate.com gives whole numbers for the degrees. I calculated out fractional numbers, and when we round them to the whole numbers, they match. And the adjustments due to refraction don't actually change our rounding numbers. As to other variables that might be in there, I'm unaware of things that may have significant impact on it.
All right, so just to reiterate, I didn't ask you for a variable of which you were aware. I asked you if there was a variable of which you were not aware, and whether or not that unknown variable could have affected the measurements you took.
Well, if I don't know about it, I don't know about it.
So it's just possible that there's a variable.
It's always possible that there's, yeah, I'll agree. There's always something possible that we are unaware of.
All right, so it's possible that you could be incorrect on the conclusions based on the fact that you have no awareness of a cause that might be there.
A variable. I wouldn't say a cause. This is a measurement, not a cause and effect thing that we were doing.
Well, that's not necessarily true, because you are measuring the effect of a cause. The shadow is an effect of a cause. And I'm asking you to consider the possibility that in between the cause and the effect, that there might perhaps be a variable for which you did not account. And
yeah, I've acknowledged there could be, yeah.
All right,
so do you
great.
have something that you think is wrong with the methodology?
No, not at all. I'm just
Okay.
Presenting the possibility of reasonable doubt. So I make no claims regarding the sun's location, except that I don't believe it can be determined. Its size, its location are not known, therefore its distance cannot be determined. So, the discussion that you brought up in terms of the height of the sun and knowing the tropic Capricorn and Cancer and all those kinds of things, those aren't my claims. So I'm not going to address those issues.
But they are my claims that we can know the position of the sun by measuring angles to it.
Yeah, but there's no way for you to verify that you're correct.
Can you support that statement, or just make?
Can you go to the sun? Can you go to the sun and?
Well, there's more ways to measure things than to just go to them.
Yeah, but how do you verify that your conclusion is correct?
Through multiple measurements, different measurements.
Okay, so how did you measure the distance to the sun?
In this one, we assumed a flat Earth, and then we used simple triangulation to measure the distance to the sun, assuming a flat Earth, and it did not work.
Okay, so how did you verify that your assumption of the distance to the sun was correct?
Well, it wasn't correct because the assumption of flatness did not work out with numbers that made sense.
Okay, so if you have variables for which you are not aware that might affect your measurements and your conclusions, and since you are not able to determine whether or not your assumptions about a flat Earth are accurate, I think that's reasonable doubt.
I was able to confirm that the assumption of flat Earth is not accurate.
Okay, how did you do that?
Because when we used simple triangulation, we got three major, massively varying heights to the sun.
Yeah. So is it possible that there's a variable between the sun and you that could affect your measurement for which you did not account?
Yeah, you asked that already.
Correct. I just want you to understand that there's reasonable doubt in your conclusion.
And that is exactly how science works. There's always a possibility that something is out there that we don't understand. And we're fine with that. If as soon as something new comes up that might cast doubt onto this measurement, let's have a look.
So what I hear you saying is that there's a 50-50 chance that you're correct.
Not at all.
Well, that's debatable.
I have a high confidence that this is correct.
But like I said,
if you have something to refute this, if you have an issue with the methodology, if you have some evidence that counteracts these measurements, then present it. Otherwise, this is this stands unchallenged.
Not at all. Not at all. I've caused reasonable doubt. So that's enough. So in brief, I'm curious, how did your measurements affirm the shape of the Earth?
So when we assumed, the second part of it, we assumed a distant sun and a spherical Earth, then we used the same measurements.
What size is that shape of that spherical Earth?
That came out to be 6,437 to 6,498 kilometers was our range.
Okay, so my question remains: how did well, actually, let me rephrase my question. How did you determine that measurement?
Well, when we assume the shape of the Earth to be a sphere and the sun to be distant, then these three numbers have a large agreement with each other.
What three numbers would those be?
6,437 kilometers.
Right. How did you derive? Right. Yeah.
Oh,
right,
how
right,
did
yeah.
we?
Yeah. How did you derive?
We use this.
Yes.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same math as Eratosthenes.
So he measured distance.
He measured distance. Yeah, he measured it. What it does is it uses the arc.
No, it's a yes or no. It's a yes or no. He measured distance, correct?
Distance is what comes out of the calculations. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, no. I'm sorry. Radius is what comes out of it.
Okay. So he measured. Did he measure distance?
We measured angles and then calculated radius.
Okay. So again, since you are measuring an angle, and that is a geometric shape, triangle, correct? It's a triangle.
Yes.
All right. Does a triangle have any curved edges?
I don't know how that applies here.
Well, you're concluding that there's an arc. And if triangles are geometrically straight, you're begging the question that the measurement of
I'm sorry.
one.
This is just geometry. If you don't agree with geometry, then I guess.
Great. What does geometry measure, Toon?
This particular geometry, we use the measurement of the angle to get the radius of the Earth.
Okay. What does geometry in itself, as a term, measure?
Geometry is part of math.
Okay, does the term geometry in nomenclature, if someone were to say geometry, would you understand that that's the measurement of Earth? Geometric measure, geometry, would that be a safe bet?
No. Geometry isn't just about measuring the Earth. Geometry is about angles and arcs and circles and parabolas and asymptotes and all sorts of things.
So
like
let's stay with angles again. Okay. So in your measurements of shadows, right? What was the instrument that you used to create the shadow?
I used a tripod.
So it wasn't straight up and down. It had three legs, and you used just the top of it. Did it have an extension at the top that was straight?
Yeah, it had an extension at the top, and I had two levels zip tied to it so that I could measure that it was perpendicular to the ground.
Okay. All right. Great. So how long was the shadow that you measured?
The shadow that I measured was 121 inches.
And did that equal the height of the tripod?
The tripod was 50.5 inches.
Okay. And then what was the measurement of the hypotenuse?
I didn't measure the hypotenuse.
Okay. So basically what I hear you describing is a triangle.
A triangle was certainly used, yes.
Yeah. No, not was used. I'm saying
Yeah.
you're describing a perpendicular instrument that casts a shadow, and then if you then complete the triangle, you've got two legs and a hypotenuse, correct? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there an arc in that triangle?
No.
So how do you draw a conclusion that you're measuring radius?
It's more complicated than that.
Oh, is it?
It's not just a triangle.
Oh, interesting. No further questions, Your Honor.
You got it. Unless you'd like to continue, Toon, you do have 2 minutes left of that 15. Otherwise, we can go to the claim from the plain truth.
Well, it seems that I'm not going over the math that Eratosthenes used on this, but it's not all that complicated. It doesn't use a arc. It uses triangles to get the angle that allows us to get the angle at the sun. But and then that gives us the curve over the Earth there. So you can look it up how it was done if you want. But the math, the sound math, is something that can be proven, and that is a provable exercise. So that's it. Yes, there is always doubt, and that is the beauty of science. Science does not prove things. Science is happy to say there's always something else that we might not know about. Bring it to us, and we can revise our understanding of things. And that's all.
You got it. Thanks so much. We appreciate that. And we will switch it over. So now we'll give our dear friend, the Plain Truth, about 6.5 minutes to make his opening claim, or I should say first claim of the claims from him. And then we'll give 15 minutes where McToon will challenge him in open discussion. So the floor is all yours, the Plain Truth.
Okay, James, keep this in your back pocket because I don't have a presentation that I can do. I am mobile, and I have no hotspot, no Wi-Fi to give you anything, except I did send you some images. So if you want to just make sure that those came through, open those up and maybe have those in waiting, and I will do my best to abstractly describe what my claim is.
You got it, dude.
Okay, so basically my claim has already been made in my opening statement, but I will reiterate it here. Again, I believe I have adequate documentation by the way of observations. I have collected data for well over 18 months. I have repeatedly gone to the same location on the Chesapeake Bay and here in California on the coast near the Channel Islands. I have hundreds. I have the past 14 days I've been here shooting, 14 days of data that I have yet to even begin to review. But that is available for anyone who would like me to provide that for you. But there's also numerous opportunities for you to go to my channel and see things that I've put out already. But to bring it back around, my claim is that I believe that I have adequate and sufficient evidence to provide an alternative explanation for the alleged observation that ships are observed sailing over the horizon or over the curve of the earth, or because the earth is curved and we watch boats go over the distance, at some point we see them change shape, and that must be because, well, the earth's curved. I don't see the bottom of the boat anymore. I only see the top. Well, so that is an alleged claim. my alternative explanation for that, I believe, is demonstrable. It is testable. It is verifiable. It is repeatable. And that is that the effects of the medium through which a person is making an observation, the effects normally called mirage or refraction or distortion, are the explanation for what observations are being made. There is a helpful website at Georgetown State University. No, not Georgia. Georgia State University.edu that goes over mirages, and it describes what's called the vanishing line. The vanishing line basically is the point at which a mirage begins. So if you have an inferior mirage, you have the physical object above, then you have the point at which the mirage begins. That is the vanishing line. In the EDU site, it confirms what I basically was describing in all of my videos that I put out, and that is that the mirage is the obstruction. The mirage is the obstruction because, as the EDU site states plainly, that the observer can see the physical object and the observer can see the mirage. What the observer cannot see is what is behind the mirage. So how about this? James, do you have that panel with the two images side by side?
Yes, I do.
Chance? Would you mind presenting those, por favor?
Yes, I am pulling it up, and the audience can now see it starting right now. So they see where it says same location, height, comma, distance. Where did the platform go?
Okay. No, I'm trying to think. I'm sorry, I forgot I sent that one to you. We can deal with that one. There's one with there's one with water side by side. It's a landscape in the background, perhaps.
A building.
I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't send it to you.
I do see water, and then it looks like almost like a lighthouse.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I could talk about those. I thought I sent that to you. I'm trying to think.
I can check. I've got 4 photos here. I've got another one where it's got water and a different building on the shore in the background.
All right, hold on. I'm going to scroll up because I know that I saw it, and I wanted to be the first. It should have been the first thing I sent to you. Here it comes right now. I'm going to send it real quick. Here we go. Lickety split.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay.
I do have...
It should say, can you spot the differences? Focal length 428 millimeter.
Got it. They can now see it.
You got that?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. And is there any way I can see that? Or I've got it pulled up, but I just wanted to verify that it was that.
You can look at the watch page.
Okay. All right. No worry about it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So here we have, can you spot the differences? Focal length of my P900 is 428 millimeters, and these images were both taken from the same location, same viewer height. But we have 2 different presentations of the same physical landscape and aquatic scape. Okay. So what you see on the right panel, it says, what we need to realize is that the entire field of view is shifted and distorted proportional to the strength of the aether band. Okay, so right below that, you see the horizon. Okay, that horizon cuts across 6 miles, and then to the left, it's 9 miles, and then the very far distant land is 12 miles away. So that is our horizon. Okay, now if you follow that horizon over to the right where the mirage is, that top blue line is the vanishing line. And the space between the vanishing line and the point at which the mirage stops, where you see all of that dancing dynamic water, all of the waves there, anything in that band is not visible to the observer. So I say there in the spot between, if there were a boat here, you wouldn't see it unless it were tall enough to breach the band or break the band, as I say. I have numerous, and shout out to Wide Awake and others. I have numerous captures of men standing on air in the Chesapeake Bay. And then they sit down and they're gone. Gone. Why are they gone? Because they're behind the mirage. What we need to understand is that you can actually know for yourself what's behind that mirage by looking to the panel on the left, and you will see the water that's always there, but sometimes vanished because of the mirage. So I have that statement on the left. This water that is visible here is visible because there's no mirage. And that water is still there in the same place behind the mirage. Now, what's interesting is that we have a difference in texture, I would say. So the way that I'm going to describe the panel on the right, the panel on the left, is that we see it appears as though I'm higher up and farther away because you have tinier images of waves. Whereas on the right, you have a difference in the image itself. In my opinion, it looks like I'm closer to the water surface, and it's what was I saying? Farther away and higher up, closer and lower down, closer and lower down. Which, interestingly enough, was the cause for some troll to accuse me of lying because he didn't understand this phenomenon. He saw water that appeared as though I were closer to it and lower down. He accused me of misrepresenting my data. No. My camera was at the same height. Well then, Travis, what's going on? This can't be the same image. We see, Travis, this can't be the same image. Look over the one on the right. The landscape is lower. The landscape is lower than the landscape on the left. It can't be the same. You are not at the same. You are lying. You are lying to your audience. You're a liar, young man. I'm sorry. No, you just simply do not understand that the medium distorts proportionally. I have watched the water, the horizon line. I have watched the horizon rise up and not obscure what's behind it. Why doesn't it obscure what's behind it? Because the object behind it is rising with the water line. It rises up, it rises down. It's dynamic, it moves. There's magnification, there's distortion, there's minimalization, right? So many things are going on here, okay? So,
got a little bit of time left.
Thank you. The point that I want to make, and the point that I've made on my vanishing line video, is that if the point at which the water ends in the panel on the right is due to the curve of the Earth, right, then we need to take that into consideration when that water line, when that horizon line moves. Because if you look to the left, that horizon line's not there anymore. So the left panel should have the very same image where the water line ends. But as I suggest, the mirage is the obstruction. mirage is the only explanation for the obstruction of what we would call boats disappearing from the bottom up. Although I will reiterate the point that I've never captured dynamically or statically a boat disappearing incrementally from the bottom up. I've only ever captured boats going into the distance, reducing in angular size, and becoming more and more distorted due to refraction. I yield the floor.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. We will now switch back into the discussion screen, and just got your photo that you sent if you would like me to pull that up, Toon. And then I'll also give you extra time because I gave Plain Truth some extra time there. So if you need it, you got it.
Yes. Super. So yeah, could you start with the one that has the two graphs?
Let's see here. Yes, just found it.
Okay. So this is from a study done in 2004 by Ismail Kabashi. It's the simultaneous reciprocal zenith angle measurements over larger distances with automatic target systems, a very pithy title. What they did is they used two, if you want to put that graph up, they used two theodolites pointing at each other that were automatically adjusting so that they can measure the amount of lift or sink that they measured against each other. So if you look at this on the left, that graph, it starts at 0, 2, 4, goes up to 18. A measurement of 1 means that they both saw each other at 0 modification to the elevation. The left one is on a sunny, hot day. And then you can see that time goes left to right there. So at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., about 7:30 was when the sun went down. And you can see that line tips way, way up. So what's happening is the amount of lift of the remote object changes drastically after sunset on a sunny day like that. It jumps all over the place. Now on the right side, it's a similar time frame, but it's on a cloudy day, and it's the vertical scale is significantly different. It goes from 1 on the bottom, which would mean no lift or drop, to 2, which is a good amount of lift. So this is saying the coefficient of refraction is 1.6, 1.5, maxing out to 1.7 on a cloudy day. So this is showing that sunny weather makes major challenges in the low atmosphere observations. It's completely confirming what the plain truth is seeing here. We see huge amounts of refraction and reflection things happening that makes our observations very chaotic. When you have a cooler day, it helps, and when you have certainly cloudy weather, it doesn't have major chaos in the measurements. There's a different study called Monitoring the Refraction Coefficient in the Lower Atmosphere Using a Controlled Setup of Simultaneous Reciprocal Vertical Angle Measurements. It sounds pretty similar, but it's a different a different study that came out later.
I'm sorry.
A few years. Yeah.
Am I allowed to interact with this? I can't.
Well, we're gonna give him as just a chance to make his.
Oh, is he making a presentation?
Yeah. Still doing a statement.
I'm almost done.
Okay, I apologize. I thought it was
okay.
a discussion. Thanks. Sorry.
We'll get right into it.
So, yeah, and all right. So this paper cites a different paper and says the refraction effects in lower atmosphere generally multiply with decreasing height. That's because heat transition to the Earth's surface is the stronger. The less distant the atmospheric layers are, therefore, the largest absolute values or temperature gradients are to be expected immediately above the ground. So, you are correct that there are major differences in the what we see directly above the ground. But if we have good measurement, and James, could you flip to that other one there?
You bet.
If we have good conditions where the refraction effects are minimized and potentially optimally the reflection effects are gone, then we can get some clear measurements. And the key thing is that the high part of the image is not is somehow affected by the low part of the aether band. That's what I find suspicious, because why would the high part be affected by the low part? So we see this turning torso building. If you zoom in on it, it's hard to do there. You can look it up yourself, but we don't see reflective effects on the bottom part because there's a good angle on the bottom of that tower that we can see, and any reflective effects are going to be pretty apparent. So there you go, Travis.
Okay, yeah, and I do apologize for interrupting. I was under the impression that it was more of an open discussion, but
that's all right.
I missed that memo.
One thing I want to, just forgive me, I'll give you a chance to respond in just a second. Do want to let folks know, because I am getting a ton of feedback. Stuff like they are triggered by the fact that we have a flat earther as a mod. And one person saying, is this a flat earth channel now? Well, we've had globe mods, like glober mods, whatever you like to call yourselves, for a long time. And no flat earthers have like pressured me to like not let them. And the mods can say what they want as long as it's not hate speech. So we're pretty laissez-faire. And so whether you be a mod that's flat earth, globe earth, we're open to either. We're a nonpartisan channel. And you can say what you want as a moderator. We'd ask you to not be abusive, because it's just dumb. But ultimately, the only thing you're not allowed to say is hate speech. So thanks for letting me address that. And the plain truth, the floor is all yours.
Okay, let's see. Toon. I've been here in California for the past 14 days. I extended my vacation another week because I just wasn't happy with the results that I got from shooting 7 days prior, because the weather was just what it was. So I stayed another 7 days, and I'm so glad that I did. I'm curious, with the diagram that you presented with the sunlight and what else that was there, I'm curious, do you think that if I sent you any one picture or two pictures I've taken from the past 14 days, that you could show me which of those pictures matches your diagram?
The diagram shows the effects over time.
The effects the effects of what over time?
The effects of refraction over time. The
so,
lifting
right.
or sinking of the remote the other theodolite. There's a light on each theodolite, and they're pointing at each other, and they're tracking up and down as the refraction lifts or lowers the remote theodolite view.
Okay, so just out of curiosity, since you're mentioning theodolites, what was the height of the theodolite from the ground?
On that one, I think it was I don't know. Let's see. I don't remember on that particular. It's near the ground.
Really. I'm just trying to unpack the
5 meters above water.
5 meters above water. And what was the distance between the two theodolites?
I don't recall, but I can give you the link to the PDF.
Well, I would rather not have to do the research myself. You're the one making the claim. So my whole question in all of this is to debunk the idea that there's a standard refraction. There's no such thing as standard refraction. I have been out.
I absolutely agree.
Day after day, through similar temperatures, similar conditions, similar weather, and I get different results. You know what happened once? It was really interesting. I got so excited. Back in September, I had a very, very cloudy day, very overcast, and I saw, one of the things that the opponents that I have in the discussion world is that I take out of focus or blurry images. Okay, there's a difference between out of focus and blurry due to the conditions of the medium through which I'm making the observation. If the humidity or temperature or weather conditions distort the image 6 miles away, I can't unfocus that. That's the image I'm going to see. That's the image I'm going to take a picture of. That's the mirage that you're going to get. But in September, I got shore to shore. Boom, baby. It was incredible. The house was crisp. Lines were straight. I wet my pants. It was amazing. The very next day, the same overcast conditions, not the same image. Now, I don't really care. I don't really give a flying smurf about measuring those things, right? All I'm concerned about is what I'm seeing and how it affects the observation that I'm making. So if I'm making an observation at 3 miles and there's no horizon between me and 3 miles, and yet before I get to my observation, I've got a mirage, which creates a horizon. And then I got a boat that is sailing in my proximity. I can see its name on the back, says Southern Cross. It's a beautiful sailboat, 32 feet, probably something around those. I don't know. I'm making that stuff up. But it's called the Southern Cross. Shout out to Crosby, Stills, Nash. And that boat crosses the threshold. It crosses into the mirage and becomes distorted. But you know what? It gets mirrored at the hull and the water. It doesn't disappear from the bottom up. There's an inferior mirage. I can't see the water upon which the boat is sailing. Where's the water? Where'd the water go? Where'd it go? It's behind the mirage. The boat keeps sailing. At what point is it going to go over the curve? No, it just keeps sailing away, sailing away, sailing away, getting smaller, more and more distorted. Did it go over the curve at 3 miles? No, it wasn't even 3 miles because the island I'm shooting is 3 miles. So it's before 3 miles. So this mirage creates an artificial horizon that blocks, distorts, hides, vanishes things behind it. If that can happen at less than 3 miles, that when you see it at 20, or you see it at 10, or you see a oil platform cut in half, it's not curvature, my friend. It's the aether band. I yield the floor.
I really wish that was a heavy metal band. It sounds so good.
It is. It is, and I think they're from Denmark.
It's. Is there really? Are you a serial there?
I'm being serious because as soon as I came out with it, the trolls were like, "Dude, that's like a metal band from Denmark, yo."
Nice. All right, I'm in the mosh pit. So, yeah, I the point of what I showed was in complete agreement with you that there is so much variation in certain temperatures that are certain conditions.
I'm not arguing what you're making. I'm not arguing the point that you're making too.
One sec. Just to be sure that Mike gets a chance. Mike, if you want to kind of, just to be sure that we're on the same page, if you want to summarize the plain truth, and then plain truth, if you can let Mike know if we're on the same page. I just want to be sure that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah. So your point in short was that you're seeing lots of different atmospheric effects. Refraction and reflection are the main things, and that you're saying that when you're seeing different conditions and things go and they disappear into the aether band, that it's not the curve of the earth that's making those disappear. And I really don't have a problem with that because certainly if it's kind of close, then yeah, the mirroring effect can totally cover things up.
Yeah, you're missing the forest for the tree, right? So
Okay.
when you brought up your diagram with your zigzaggy Watusi whatever that was, right? I mean, show me that in real life. Show me what that looks like. Can you show me a picture of that diagram in real life, what that looks like? So
It's a
that
measurement over time.
that means absolutely nothing. Your diagram is the matrix. It's a construct, right? Remember that scene in Matrix when Cypher was sitting there and Neo comes up and he's like, I just see blonde, redhead, blah, blah, blah. But Neo's looking and all he sees is code, okay? Your diagram is code. I don't know what that looks like, right? I don't know what picture that is. I don't know if that's a blonde woman. I don't know if that's a lighthouse. What is that? Is that an oil platform?
Well, you have a lot of experience in this, and your picture showed that, the one that you had the side by side, where
Can you
some
demonstrate that it? No. You're making
Hold
a
on one
claim
sec.
right now.
Just to be sure that Mike got a chance to finish. I think he was mid-sentence. That's the only reason I jump in.
Yeah. Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah, your picture showed a distant object on the left and distant object on the right, and they were at different elevations. And that's what that graph was showing, is that different distant observations vary in height in different conditions.
Okay, that is a secondary point to my primary argument. Do you know what my primary argument is?
I think you're trying to claim that it is never the curve of the Earth that is obstructing things bottom up.
That's part of it. Yeah. First of all, the debunk is that nothing disappears from the bottom up. Okay, that's primarily my claim. That's a fallacy, bottom up fallacy. Okay,
that
nothing.
You've not observed things obscuring bottom up.
In my over 18 months of hours upon hours of observations, what I can honestly report and present to you is I have always seen objects distorted. I went to the North Point State Park, I think it's called. Shout out to Derek O'Hara and Adam, who is Bombaclat Gato Fish. And there was a cruise liner coming out of the Baltimore Harbor. And I followed it until it disappeared in Annapolis, 14 miles. I saw it get distorted. I saw it get smaller. I saw major distortion, which told me that I cannot honestly say I can see this going over a curve. Not only that, but again, at shorter distances, right? The Southern Cross and other watercraft in the Chesapeake Bay, shorter distances. Okay, again, if the horizon, okay, there's a difference, right? It's difficult. If I'm looking over the Chesapeake Bay, where's the horizon? Because I don't have an extensive ocean in front of me. I've got a 6 mile width of the Chesapeake Bay, 6 miles, where I am looking across from Havre de Grace all the way over to Red Point, 6 miles. Behind that is landscape. So technically the horizon is terrestrial. It's not aquatic, right? And yet, whenever there is an apparent aquatic horizon, that's always curve every single time. Every single time you look out over the ocean, the limit of the sky and the water is the horizon every single time. But what happens when that line gets closer to you? What happens then? What happens when, actually, this could be a good place for you to pull up that first pane that you brought up, James, for everybody.
I can do that. And then just to be sure that people, including myself, because I was like, I'm not, for a second I was like, are we still on the discussion point or this like in case I'll give you
Yeah,
more
I'm
time if you
sorry.
need
I
to wrap
mean,
up, but
it's not a. I don't think this is technically a formal debate. So, but if you want me to, if you want to rein me in, this is your show. So please rein me in if I'm overstepping my bounds.
as long as Michael, whenever, or I should say, Toon, whenever if you have a point that you wanna raise, feel free to kind of
Yeah.
interject, because we'll make sure that both of you get plenty of time. I just wanted to be sure that I myself wasn't sure. I was like, I forgot. Like, are we in the discussion? But anyway, I got your
Yeah.
pictures up. Do
All
you
right.
want me to put a
So
picture up?
how do you want to do this? Is this what kind of format are we in right now?
Open discussion still.
Okay, go ahead. I'll yield the floor.
All right. So you said you've not seen bottom up, or for some reason it's a fallacy, and in 18 months you've not seen it. So James, could you bring up that that tower again? Not the
Sure.
graph, the other one. So maybe this will be the first time you'll see it. But this is a pretty clear bottom up obstruction with increasing distance. It was a day where it was overcast, and so the conditions weren't extreme or chaotic. And you can see on the tower has an angle on the bottom of it, and so that shows that there is none or very little reflection going on, and very little miraging, because you don't see these duplicated areas. That there's a tiny bit sometimes that you might be able to identify, and then certainly there's distortions because of the proximity to the water. But that's a bottom-up obstruction. Now this has been normalized so that the top of the tower is even across the top from A to F. Those are all low to the ground observations. They're 12 feet to 7 feet about high. And then the final one, that's this very similar distance. It's actually the same distance, but the elevation is different. So all that happened was they went up in elevation, and that dropped the horizon again, and it revealed more of the distant object. So how is the Aether band responsible for this when this was not a chaotic condition? And how also in the later images, DEF, did the top of the tower get shrunk down as well? If the Aether band is it everywhere, or is it near the ground, or where is it exactly?
Okay, great. I made the claim in my opening comments that the Aether band is ubiquitous. It is three-dimensional: height, width, distance. Okay. And so it's everywhere that you're looking in these images. And there is no one effect. Okay. There is no one effect. I will take a kick to my pinky toe with pointed boots. Okay. That there's no such thing as standard refraction. I will take a kick to the shin with pointy boots. That there is no single effect in any observation. There are many, manifold, and various effects going on, which include magnification, diminutionization, minimalization, whatever, shrinkage. There are numerous effects going on, not just one. It's not just that there's an inferior mirage, because what about the physical image above? It could actually be shrunk. It could actually be stretched. It could actually be towering. It could actually be stooping. Okay? I've got thousands of these things to prove to you, or to demonstrate to you. And I don't give a flying smurf what temperature it was, what day it was, what the height of the tide was. Nothing. If you want to knock yourself out and do that stuff, knock yourself out. Because the thing that it boils down to is this: That object at 20 miles is there. It's there. When I see it because the aether band allows me to. She pulls, well, she pulls the curtain back. And she shows me that there's an arc. 40-foot arc. If you want to do the math, friends, if you want to do the math with Walter Bislin or whatever Toon thinks is the better math for the curvature of the Earth, knock yourself out. 10 feet, observer height. 20 miles, 40-foot arc. I can see it. But then the next day, where'd it go? Where'd the arc go? Did the curve of the Earth turn a little bit farther away? No, I didn't change position. Nope. I don't know what else to say. I'm hot to trot.
Gotcha. Thank you. Floor is yours if you want to keep going with this discussion. Otherwise, we can bring up our next claim. McToon. Or Toon.
Well, it was just a kind of a wave off. I don't know what to say to that. There's no obvious distortions going on. You can look at the different levels of the buildings.
Let's stop. Let's stop there. There's no
I'm
obvious.
sorry. Did the middle of my sentence interrupt the beginning of yours?
You're so quippy. You're so pithy.
Hold on, let's
MC
give
Toon.
him a chance though. We've given you a lot of time. We want to give Toon a chance.
You want to
and I
get
promise-
nuts? Let's get nuts.
Thank you very much. It's like one of my favorite movies ever. Hopefully everybody out there knows that's from the first Michael Keaton Batman movie, but okay.
Michael Keaton. Shout out to Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton
That's
was
right.
robbed with Birdman. He should have won Best
yes.
Actor.
Michael Keaton's in the live chat. We'll tell him. Okay, so go ahead, Toon.
I just got shivers. I just got shivers in the timbers for mentioning Michael Keaton.
That's
Original.
epic. That's awesome.
Right
Those are beautiful. I love those. Wow. Love it.
That. Listen, I watched it twice when I bought it that first day when it came out.
You're taking good care of those. I love that. All right, floor is all yours, Toon.
So yeah, you can see in these images that there isn't a bunch of squishing and expanding in them through different distances. So again, in these, when the conditions are nice, what is it that's causing it versus when the conditions are chaotic? And I would suggest don't go out when the conditions are chaotic. Go out when the conditions are nice, because that doesn't mess things up.
Hold on
Oh
one
my
sec.
God.
One sec. We have to let Toon finish here. I promise we'll come back to you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd certainly when taking observations and trying to do some science, you want to minimize the conflating variables. And so when you're having, as you've identified very well, chaotic conditions, we can't eliminate those variables. There's too many going on. We don't know what's happening. So we look for times when there's less of those things going on so that we can try to isolate them out.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm not going to dance around this. Every single one of those images has distortion. Every single one. I mean, when you say chaotic, I've never used the word chaotic. I've never described any of my observations as being in a chaotic medium ever. You guys, your side comes at me. Why don't you take it where there's the minimal refraction? Okay, listen. So you want me to like get one image, one picture, right? You want me to get my black swan, right? No, it's not possible. There's no standard refraction. There's no chaotic, there's no refraction. There's always refraction. Always. Even at an inch of observation. Even at a foot of observation. Okay? It's ridiculous, guys. Wake up. Now, this image, as far as I know, that you presented with the twisty, twirly, towery thingy, Hoosie, was from when I watched it. I believe it was taken on the same day. Am I correct?
Yeah, it was all on the same day.
Great. Go back the next day and show me that again. Go back 2 days later. Show me that image again. Right? You guys are cherry picking, friends. Cherry picking.
That is exactly
Wake
right.
up.
Yeah.
Wake
you
up.
Want to pick the conditions that reduce the conflating variables.
Okay. Where's the horizon, McToon?
In these images here,
Yeah.
well, you can see the line as it starts to obscure the bottom of the building.
Okay.
In each step as it goes up.
James, would you mind pulling up that first panel that you thought that I was referring to?
Gotcha. Pulling it up now. I have. Let's see. So I have it's a photo of Steven Steen in a dress. That's not it. Hold on. Where is this one? Nah.
Who is sending you pictures of Steven Steen in a dress? Is it Steven?
So, they're just everybody's. They're all over the place. They get around.
Oh,
Let's see.
that's why is that in your collection?
Let's see. Which picture did you want? From
It should be the panel. Again, I don't know how to. The one on the left I think is an oil platform.
Oh yeah. Okay, got it. And I'm showing the audience right now. It's the two diagonal photos, right?
Yeah. Let me just wait for it to catch up on the watch page. There we go.
You betcha.
Okay. All right. What you have here is, and I have it this week. You see the image on the right. You see the rabbit ears poking out over the horizon, right? For the past 2 days, I have not seen my beautiful Gina. She has been hiding her body from me, and she's so coy. She's so precocious. She's got Betty Davis eyes. But what we need to look at here on the left is we have the vanishing line right through the middle. You've got an inferior mirage, okay? That's the point at which the mirage begins. But my friends, that's not the point at which the obstruction begins, because we don't see the base, we don't see the legs. I've got images from this location, same distance, same viewer height, and I've got full shot, legs and all. She's beautiful. She's got legs. Okay. In this image here, we have a horizon, that bottom yellow line. You see that bottom yellow line? That's the horizon, my friends. That's a physical location, my friends. That's a physical location. It's always there. Same distance, right? Because the horizon can't move, can it? Can't get closer to me, can it? Can't get farther away from me, can it? So if you continue that yellow line to the panel on the right, and that's the horizon, where'd the platform go? Where'd it go? Right? So which one's the true horizon? The horizon doesn't exist, my friends. It's apparent, and it's always the result and the effect of the aether band. She decides what we see. She decides how we see it, when we see it, why we see it. So it's not so cut and dry. It's not picking the best conditions. Which of these, McToon, which of these is the better condition?
The one with less mirages would certainly be a good place to start.
Yeah, they both have mirages, my friends. They both have refractive distortion, okay? So even though there's not a mirrored image in the one on the right, which again doesn't even answer the question, like where did it go, Toon? Where'd the oil platform go? Did it move farther away from me?
It looks to me like it's obstructed by the curve.
Yeah, so where's the curve on the left?
It's all messed up because it's a chaotic weather condition there.
How do you know what is there Is there a website that I can go to that defines chaotic weather condition for me?
Well, when there's mirroring, like you see on the left side, that's much more chaotic. You have significant temperature differences right above the surface, and that's why you get those the reflections.
Yeah, I've gotten those reflections in manifold conditions.
Sure.
There's no, don't say sure, because that negates what you just said. Okay, it doesn't matter what the conditions are. That's what I just said earlier about my observation back in September when I hold on real quick. I'm sorry, let me just finish. I'm nearly there. Shout out to the rumpus. When I got my observation in September under auspiciously overcast skies, clearest, crispiest, the next day or two, I can't remember which it was, but it was like the next day or two, same overcast skies, same, it looked, outside felt the same, nothing changed, completely different. Listen, it felt like the same temperature. I put my toes in the water. Yeah, it feels like 60 degrees. Yeah, what's the air temperature? 64 degrees. What's the water temperature? Yeah, it's like 62. Yeah, 60, 62, give or take. Completely different, guys. Listen, wake up. There is no such thing as giving an adequate measurement of the air temperature, the air pressure, the humidity on this day. You should get this on this day. You should get this on this. No. Because like Rumpus says, he can predict an inferior mirage. That's not what I'm asking you for. I don't care if you can predict an inferior mirage. I want you to predict what that inferior mirage is going to do to the object I'm observing. You can't do it. Now, what you're looking at here in both instances is refractive distortion. In the one, we have mirage. In the other, we don't have mirage, but we still have refractive distortion. And my claim right here and now, people, on this platform is that we have an unclassified atmospheric refractive distortion, because we have a lifting up of the water so that it looks as though I'm low to the ground and close to the water. That is an effect that is distorting and blocking. Okay, so the question becomes, guys, just wake up. Listen, it's ridiculous when you look at this image. Okay, is the image on the left the accurate image?
So do you think I could have a moment in here eventually?
I'm sorry. I'm just passionate about this. It's absolutely insane. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I'm. If I can just get some clarification, were these two images taken at the same spot with the same camera settings?
That's correct.
Okay,
that's correct.
Okay, so yeah, this is a great example, and I completely agree with you. These things throw all of these types of observations into question, and they basically cannot be used.
I'm asking you, which one's the accurate horizon?
Neither. They're quite useless.
So how can you ever determine? Like, what if you were on the ocean and you were 13 miles away from Gina here, and you were trying to determine? Look, we only see the tips of Gina right now. That must mean that she's far, far over the curve. So we've got quite a way. Whoa, where did she come from? All of a sudden, this wasn't 13 miles. We weren't expecting that. Oh, hey.
Yeah, I would certainly throw into question any of these observations and probably not use them.
How about when I show you an observation of Gina in full view from the same location, and the horizon therefore would be lower?
I agree. There's so many things going on. We don't know. I don't know why you keep going over this, right? You're just like drilling in that we can't use these observations.
The horizon is.
Hold on, just to be sure that we hear tune.
That's fine. That's fine.
Just to be sure that we heard tune, because you started to talk over them just a bit. We appreciate your passion, Plain Truth.
Thank you,
but I
James.
just want to be sure
I
that people heard
apologize.
them.
Thank you.
We'll give you a chance to tune if you want to repeat yourself on that last thing, just to be sure people heard you.
Yeah, and, these varied and chaotic conditions are pretty difficult to make any conclusions from. So,
Yeah,
I agree.
Okay.
We cannot
listen,
draw any conclusions from these.
One thing we'll do is we are going to go to Q&A pretty soon. So if you guys have a final claim that you'd like to discuss, we can do that. I'm trying to remember. Did each of you have the same?
No, we were. I think we were just going to do one each and then save time for Q&A.
You got it. We will go into Q&A, folks. It has been a true joy. This is always exciting. I never know what's going to happen. So we are excited to get to your questions. Thanks for sending all these questions in. We're going to get through as many as we possibly can. And we could definitely get through the ones we have already. Just a heads up, I don't think we're going to have this problem tonight. Once in a while, a debater has to leave. And we found that it's hard to do the Q&A with one debater because I trust these guys, but once in a while, one debater will badmouth the other, and then I'm like, why do you got to do that when they're not here to defend themselves? Puts me in a bad spot because then the other debater gets mad at me. So we are, long story short, we're going to try to get through as many as we can. And here we go. Steven Steen, thanks for your super chat. He said, no one likes McToon. Long live McFlatty.
Oh, McFlatty's terrible.
Isn't that a real person?
Yeah. His mom asked me to ask everybody to sub to him. Don't, but his mom wants me to.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. Joshua Jorgensen, thanks for your super chat. He said, this channel is great. Love listening to different debates. Thanks so much, Joshua. That's super encouraging, and all credit to the speakers. They make it so much fun. Like I told them before we started, I was like, this honestly gets me in such a great mood. So Steven Steen, thanks for your other super chat. He said, having watched Nathan Thompson destroy Team Skeptic live, this was a bigger beatdown. Rest in peace, McLoon. You will not be missed. I take it you guys are good
Thank
buddies.
You, Steven. Yeah.
He's a character, all right. Yes. Twitch Loken 16, thanks to your question, they said, or super chat, they said, the plain truth, trying so hard to look smart, fooling nobody but dumbbells. Plain truth, he's coming at you. He's throwing fists.
I was like, when are they going to get to me?
Okay. If you want to respond to that last one, you can. You don't have to.
No, I got crickets.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. Twitch Logan 16, thanks for your other super chat. They said 18 months of YouTube research data. I think they're making fun of you. How do you like them apples? The plain truth.
Okay, so if you could go back into this show and bring up any sound clip where I said that I have 18 months of YouTube data, be my guest. Gotcha. I'd like to make a wager. Would you like to bet that?
Gotcha. Twitch Loken, he's calling you out. All right, next one. Twitch Loken 16, thanks for your super chat. They said McToon. Is it? It's McToon, right?
It's MC, like MC Hammer, man.
That's
the
right.
Worst rapper in the world.
Yes, you even look like MC Hammer. Come on, this is easy to remember, people. Okay, so
except you've been touched.
Next up, I don't know. Oh, that's right. Good one. Okay, now McToon. They said, don't bring up math, please. Flat Earthers struggle a bit with it. Plain truth.
Yeah, I love math. And I've asked repeatedly. I'm not gonna shout him out. I'm not gonna call him out. I've asked a baller that I like a lot. I like this guy a lot. I've given him 5 images. I've given him my data. I've said, please do the math and tell me what my image should look like.
Gotcha.
Still hasn't happened.
You got it. Thanks so much. And Spike Smith, thanks for your super chat. They said the right-hand image was taken 2 days after a major Southern California wildfire. There's clearly a ton of particles and haze in the air, changing the way light will refract as it travels, as well as causing blurriness. I'm not certain what.
Awesome.
Let's see.
Awesome story, bro. So why don't you look up the conditions for today and yesterday? Because I have the same result where I have no body, but the antennae sticking up over the apparent horizon. So if you can, instead of ejaculating what you think is the case, right? It might be true. And I do remember last year that there were fires. Yeah. But are you simply drawing a conclusion yourself? By all means, please provide a link that will explain any observation off the coast of California due to these fires, because I got the same effect right now and there's no fires. It was absolutely gorgeous day today. Beautiful.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. And appreciate that next super chat who's coming in from Philip. Good to see ya. He says, question for the plain truth. In your view, what would happen if I approach the edge of the earth? Do you think the edge is being guarded?
I am discussing refractive distortion in a medium. I've made no claims about the edge of anything.
Gotcha. Thanks so much. Next up, appreciate your, let's see, super chat from C4. They said, Nathan Thompson, please show where the U.S. Coast Guard measured the earth to be flat. So Nathan did send me an email. So given that they're asking Nathan, I'm like, well, I guess we'll give Nathan a chance to respond. I have never seen this picture before. It's a geographic range table. I'll show it to you, folks. This is Nathan Thompson's response. Nathan, if you want, the door's open if you guys want to come on and debate. But as of right now, this is Nathan's short answer to the question. So, as mentioned, it's the geographic range table. To be completely honest, I don't know what that means, at least in the fullest sense. But thank you for that super chat, and thank you for Nathan sending me an email mid-debate. So, let's see. Next up, Twitch Loken16. Thanks for your super chat. They said, Nathan... Did we get two in a row? Let's see. They asked the same
He
question.
asked it twice, I think.
Oh, let's see. Okay, thank you. You're right. And John Rapp, thanks for your super chat. They said, what's the benefit nitpicking photos of atmospheric distortions? Clear pics and videos of ships, the sun, the moon, etc. clearly show a physical blocking.
I have over 18 months of demonstrable evidence from two different locations. I've made my argument absolutely clear that I have demonstrable proof that obstruction can be attributed to mirage. Those mirages create a false horizon. So, again, my claim is that I am presenting an alternative explanation for the fallacy of bottom-up disappearance of anything mobile or stationary.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And Area 85 Restorations, thanks for your super chat. They said, ask, quote-unquote, truth if he knows the difference between angular resolution and an object disappearing from the bottom up as the distance to it increases.
Okay, again, I am making the claim, I am debunking the claim, I am challenging the claim that there is disappearance from the bottom up. Because once you get to the distance required for that disappearance, your eye cannot resolve with that kind of acuity. It cannot. You cannot see with your naked eye, oh, there it goes, there it just went over the curve. Because of angular resolution.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. Next up, Philip C. Glad to see your second question, which is for the plain truth. They said, how many people do you think are involved in the flat earth conspiracy?
Again, my claims have to do with optics and aether bandy kinds of things. So that's a non sequitur.
Gotcha. Thanks so much. Next up, Twitch Logan 16. Thanks for your super chat. They said, yes, use a movie to help your case. I think they are referring...
No. It's okay. Truth in movies, babies. Truth in movies.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. C4, thanks for your super chat. They said, oh, snap. They're coming at you, Nathan. They said, Nathan Thompson, the geographic range table, which I just showed up. I pulled up for you guys just a few minutes ago. It looked like this. They said, Nathan Thompson, the geographic range table does not measure the Earth. I asked for measurements of a flat Earth because you say it's measurably flat. So I guess they're saying measurements of a flat Earth is what they want because you say it's measurably flat. So Nathan, if you're out there, by the way, thanks Nathan, who helped connect or helped basically bring this debate together as he helped connect us with the plain truth, who is...
Shout out to Nathan Thompson.
Then we have, thanks for your super chat, B-Ball for life. They said, does Travis have anything else other than these blurry photos?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've got photos that demonstrate clarity and distance, right? Okay, so that is that's the anomaly, right? So actually, I'm in the process of editing a new video that I'm going to put out, where I'm just going to say this. I would venture to guess that if I went back and looked at all of my footage, that 99.9% is distorted, wavy, blurry images, right? For the majority. It's once in a blue moon, I get a clear shot down to the shoreline. Okay, it's not typical. So would you like me to just simply show you that? Because that's going to kick you in the gonads, right? I shouldn't be seeing that, right? So if I have a 40-foot arc on the water at 20 miles from a viewer height of 10 feet, do the math. Would you like me to show you that picture? So actually, I'm in this party for the aesthetics because I love what I'm doing. Love it. I extended my stay another 7 days because I love what I'm doing.
Gotcha.
So I've got pictures that will make you absolutely, if you aren't impressed just simply with the beauty of what I can present to you, then you're a Smurf.
Gotcha. So we do appreciate the plain lies. I always prioritize when people call each other out for debates. We always love it. They, in the live chat right now, said, I would take a one-on-one debate with the plain truth. Just so you know.
Okay, so who is this?
They go by the name The Plain Lies is their name.
So, yeah, I'm not sure if that's who I think it is, but whatevs, yo.
Gotcha. Thanks so much. We appreciate that. Well, if you feel free to email me if you're serious about it, moderndaydebate@gmail.com. Craig Montgomery, thanks for your super chat. They said, how does the ether band hide the sun on a clear day?
If you notice, I've made no claims about the sun. My observations are aquatic, and they involve terrestrial locations. That's a non sequitur.
Gotcha. We appreciate Area 55 Restorations. Thanks for your super chat. They said, who cares about Horizon Pictures? Can truth, quote unquote, show how LIGO is flat but only level at the center? Or how a sextant EQ mount, sunsets, etc. work on a flat Earth? By the way, assertions don't count. Pick one.
You have some assertions in that statement that you just posted for James to read. And my response is non sequitur.
Gotcha. We appreciate your super chat from Pax Americana. They said, what is the simplest way to falsify the flat earth? I see flat earthers disregard photographs, so what would they take as evidence for the globe?
Can you read that again? Say that again.
You betcha. So they said, what is the simplest way to falsify the flat earth? I see flat earthers disregard photos, so what would they take as evidence for the globe, if not photos?
Yeah. So I think I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I've provided photos. Yeah. So I have photos that have a horizon that moves. So as soon as you respond to my photos, you can maybe perhaps critique me for rejecting yours. Okay?
Gotcha. Very sassy. Thanks very much. Next up, we have from Area 85 Restorations. Thanks for your super chat. They said, truth, your response didn't answer my angular resolution question, dude. What is the difference between the two observations?
What? What's he talking about?
They said, truth, your response didn't answer my...
No. I get that part. But I can't remember what he said at first. He asked me something about angular resolution and schmaltzy, whatever, who's what's it. So you got to go back to the original claim. I can't remember it. It doesn't help. I'm not trying to evade it. I'm just saying, being honest. I don't remember the original claim or question.
I can probably find it. Give me one sec.
Thanks. Take your time.
And let's see. They said, so the original one was, ask, quote unquote, truth if he knows the difference between angular resolution and an object disappearing from the bottom up as the distance to it increases. So that was their original question. And then the last...
Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. So my answer, right? Can you read? Okay, I'm sorry, James. Just one more time, read the question, please. Thank you.
You want me to read the original?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the original is... where'd it go? Let's see. It's around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Ask, quote unquote, truth if he knows the difference between angular resolution and an object disappearing from the bottom up as the distance to it increases.
Okay. Yes.
Their response was they said your response didn't answer my angular resolution question. They said, what is the difference between the two observations?
That's a completely different question because he said at first, do you understand? And I said yes. So that supersedes the previous answer, so he can start over again if he'd like.
We can come back to that one, Area 85 Restorations. I'll keep an eye for you in the live chat. Eyes to See, thanks for your super chat. They said,
shout out to Danielle, my Smurfer girl.
They said, I love you, Paige, in all caps. So, Paige, you're very loved. Chris Barker, thanks for your super chat. They said, why can't Travis release all the videos uncut?
Yeah. So if anybody's been paying attention, I've been here for 14 days. I have probably looked over 0.25% of the data. If this fine person would like to super chat me, actually no, because I don't have 4,000 watch hours. If this fine person would like to Patreon me or PayPal me so that I don't have to work, so that I can provide you with all of my footage, I'm up for that.
Gotcha. Thank you, Philip C, for your super chat. They said, "Hey, the plain truth. Why do you keep evading questions? Do you understand that they don't have to be directly relevant to your claims to be valid questions?"
What the Smurf did? What does anybody understand what that question is? Anybody? James, do you understand what that question is?
Yeah, I think so. They're saying like why they think you're evading questions, and they're saying like, hey, just because the question doesn't have to do with like exactly what you said in the debate doesn't mean that it's not relevant.
No. I'm not monkeying around with red herrings. No way. Let's focus on my claims and the discussion at hand.
Gotcha. Thanks so much. And Kamakiri. So sorry about that. That's embarrassing. Kamakiri 700. Thanks for your super chat. They said, name one working flat Earth model with any predictive capability whatsoever. For example, it's not even possible to tell the time using flat Earth. This indicates that really there is no evidence for flat Earth.
So there's a claim there that there's not a possibility of telling time. So that's a claim. And I'm just curious as to the argument and evidence for that. Thank you.
Gotcha. Thanks for your super chat from Tez Schickel. We appreciate it. They said, how high does McToon think you'd have to be to see the curve of the Earth?
At the beach, you could see it on a nice day when the conditions are nice. You can see it by having things obstructed bottom up.
Gotcha. Thanks very much. And thanks for your super chat from, let's see, that's embarrassing. I know I just saw it. Thanks for your patience, folks. All right, here we go. Twitch Loken 16, they said, Poe confirmed. They're accusing you of being a Poe, plain truth. Is this true?
Oh, me or him?
That's true. Technically, they didn't say, but I have based on his past super chats.
So I'm accused of being a Poe.
I think that's what they're saying.
So I really don't get into drama. Drama has. I walked away from a relationship with an absolutely number 11, and she was an 11 because the drama was too much, and I'm like, I'm not doing drama, but she's an 11, but I'm not doing drama, but so I don't do drama. I actually don't even know what a Poe is. What the Smurf's a Poe?
That's what they always call Nathan. I don't know, but
yeah.
I can cover what a Poe is.
What is a Poe? I thought it was somebody who pretends to be a creationist. It doesn't have to be that.
Yeah, it goes back to the young Earth creationist debates where it was Poe's law, some guy's name Poe, that he said that in the most extreme cases, you can't tell the difference between somebody faking it, trying to mock a young Earth creationist saying the most extreme things, and an actual young Earth creationist that is telling the truth. So
that's
usually, though, it means,
so this doesn't sound like a compliment. Okay, so
so what I always assumed, right? I assumed, and it's perfectly okay to assume because Eratosthenes did it. But so what I always assumed about a Poe, because back in the 80s, we called wannabes posers, right? You're a poser because you wanna be. So I always just thought a Poe was like someone who's pretending to be what he's not. But so what the Smurf kind of evidence do you even have to make that inane, inept, and obtuse comment, whoever you are?
Gotcha. Stagnu de Mort. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Thanks for your super chat. They said reflection and refraction account for a moving horizon on a globe. Now that I've addressed your pictures, why do you reject pictures taken from space?
What the Smurf? I mean, this stream does not need a non sequitur. What it needs is more ether band.
Gotcha. Thank you for your super chat. Math Pig. They said, is that a new blazer? Yeah, because you rock anyway. Thanks for saying that. Bless your heart. It's not new. It's still my good old Goodwill blazer, but it gets the job done. Thanks. Appreciate you. Thanks for noticing. Okay. By the way, someone in the chat was like mad because I said that they call Nathan a Poe. I didn't say Nathan's a Poe. I say some of his critics say that. Chill out. You guys, like, some of you guys, I'm amazed. They're like, there's a flat earther mod. I'm leaving. I'm not watching anymore. I'm like, well, there are like a ton of globe mods. What's the big deal? Okay, so anyway, I mean, we're nonpartisan. Kamakiri 700, thanks for your super chat. They said, you can't tell time because you have no working map, therefore no way to determine location, therefore no way to tell time.
That is the most, if that's not word salad, I don't know what is. That's all rhetoric. That does, you haven't proven anything. You've simply stated something that you now have to prove. So come back, little boy.
Let's see. I guess that's his response. Area 85 Restorations, thanks for your super chat. They said, okay, fine. What is the difference between, and then in parentheses they put, an object getting smaller and an object disappearing from the bottom up, as the distance to it increases for both cases. I ask because
awesome sauce.
They say I ask because you're confusing the two.
Oh, great, a claim. So now I'm not going to answer until you prove your claim. So how have I confused the two? Back at you.
Gotcha. Let's see. Thanks for we got all those questions. That's great. Honesty Angel, we're moving into the other questions. They asked, how does plate tectonics work on a flat Earth?
Oh my God. Does anybody in the chat, does anybody out there in YouTube land know what I'm going to say next, please? Anybody? Anybody else?
I know.
Yeah.
Dude knows. He knows what's coming. We'll give Toon a chance to. Can we have you guys? Can we give Toon a chance to respond? Just because he hasn't gotten much action during the Q&A. He's been chilling here patiently. So if you want to answer, you can. And then is it okay if we give Toon a quick rejoinder and then we come back to you and we'll go to the next question?
Well, the only reason why I'm responding is because I feel like you're throwing them at me, right?
Yes, I'm putting some like spit on them too. Like I'm speaking them with as much vitriol as I can.
Yeah.
I'm trying to seethe with anger as I read these.
I feel it. Yeah, you've incited me.
Gotcha. So, Kamakiri 700, thanks for your super chat. They said, rolling on the floor, laughing, or rofle, as some say. They say, they're coming at you hard. They say, an idiotic rebuttal. How can you tell time if you don't know where you are? They're coming hard at you now, plain truth.
Time is a concept, right? 5 minutes ago, I was doing something else. A minute from now, I'm going to be doing something else. So what's the gauge for that measurement, right? Do I need to know my location for that? What is time? Time keeps on slipping into the where? Past, present, future, right? So time is a measurement, right? So if I stand where I'm at and I stick a piece of if I stick a post into the ground and use it as a sundial, and I create my own clock and I set the parameters and the designations and the descriptions of my own clock so that I know what time it is according to my own standard, I'm pretty sure I can tell time.
Gotcha. Appreciate that. Next up, we do have Mr. United for the Children. Thanks for your question. They asked, can you ask him about the temperature/humidity, etc. date for both these different days?
Yeah, I've made it pretty clear that I don't give a smurf about that, right? So the reason why I say that is because I've been out on consecutive days in the same week, right? That's what it means, consecutive days, one after the other. You follow what I'm saying? Monday, Tuesday, right? Not Monday, Friday, but that would still be the same week. So it's still the same month, still the same season, right? It's crazy, you know. So what I'm saying is I spent 8 days last week trying to find my money shot. I was supposed to go home on Friday. I thought, I gotta stay. I gotta do it. I gotta do it for the team. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, today. Boom, baby. If I hadn't stayed, I would not have the shizzle I've got. Okay? And I've got the shizzle. I don't care what the temperatures are. It doesn't affect what I'm seeing. I'm going to show you what I'm seeing. I'm going to ask you, like I've asked McToon, where's the horizon? Oh, well, you gotta get a really good. I'm sorry. Can you show me what that day looks like? Well, yeah, but it's where it's minimal. No. Show me what that day looks like. Can't do it, guys. You can't do it.
Gotcha.
I gave you a great example of a day to do it on the Twisting Tower.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What the problem with that McToon is that the other days conflict because you don't know which one's real. You don't know which one's actual. You don't know which one's better. You don't, except for the one you want, right? I mean, really, come on, let's be honest.
Well, there's ways to evaluate whether or not one is good or not.
Yeah, I've asked that question, and I'm pretty sure you came up short.
Next up,
clear. Yeah.
Next up, Kamakiri, thanks for your super chat. They said, it's 12 a.m. here in Singapore. Notice how I had to add Singapore to the sentence. Stop avoiding the obvious.
Who's that to?
I think that's to you.
Yo, and in reference to what?
They said, it's 12 a.m. here in Singapore. Notice how I had to add Singapore to the same sentence. Stop avoiding the obvious.
Yeah, but all you did, James, was repeat the sentence. I still don't understand what. I mean, come on, people. Listen, anybody in YouTube land right now, do you know what this person just said? What did they just say? Why did you have to add Singapore? Are you trying to make a comment about time? What the sphincter?
I think they're asking let's see. What's the phrase? Okay, so we can come back to that one if they clarify. I'll keep an eye on the live chat. Mr. Victory, thanks for your super chat. They said, plain truth, since you were big on not making claims other than your so-called photo evidence, what is your opinion on Earth photos from space, and why so salty?
Why so what?
Salty.
Why so salty?
Salty.
It's just who I is. It's just who I is. Wow, I've got an incredible guys. Listen, I'm looking out at the Pacific right now. It is absolutely gorgeous. Clear skies. I can see where's Orion. There he is. There's Luna straight above me. Absolutely gorgeous. I can see every single platform in front of me. I can see the Anacapa Lighthouse blinking. I can see Gina in the distance. I can see her light twinkling. That little vixen, she's been hiding her body from me this past few days. But anyway, what was the question? Yeah. So, McToon, what am I going to say?
Non sequitur.
Thank you.
Gotcha. Okay.
We call it deflection too.
Gotcha. In fact, the next super chat says.
Okay,
thanks-
hold on. I'll acquiesce. Right? If I were to go back in time, let's say, if I were to be who I am in 1968, if I were to be a flat earther in 1968, my rejection of the Apollo photograph would not be CGI. It would not be manipulation of the data. It would be physics. Water don't bend, yo.
Gotcha. Thanks very much. Area of 85 Restorations, thanks for your super chat. They said, nice job deflecting, Truth. Typical flat earther.
Boom. You got me. You got me. I'm a Poe.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. Let's see. We don't have too many more questions. Let's see. We do have one from Ranty Flat Earth. Thanks for your question. They said, can you ask McToon, so is there no refraction going on here? Does refraction through the mediums only happen on a globe? Upward refraction would cause sinking on a plane, right?
Yes, there is. You can pretty much count on there always being refraction, and yes, downward refraction will cause things to look higher. Upward refraction will cause things to look lower, and whether it's flat or a sphere, the effects of refraction are going to be similar. However, on a sphere, except for miraging, if there's not reflection, if it's just refraction, we would not see things gone. We would see things compressed or stretched, but not gone.
You bet. Thanks very much. And Carl Christofferson, thanks for your super chat. They said, 8 days in a week now? It's a problem with your time. I'm not
I
sure.
guess that's to me, yeah?
I think so.
8 days in a week. Did I make that claim?
Gotcha. Thanks very much. Also, next question. God of Spaghetti, thanks for your question. They said, please explain to us how time works on a flat Earth model.
I have no model. I look out and I see the world.
Gotcha. Thanks very much. Christopher, thanks for your question. They said, how does an equatorial telescope mount work on a flat Earth?
Same way it works on your world. It works. I don't understand. It's pretty straightforward, right?
Got it. Kamakiri 700, thanks for your super chat. They're coming at it again. They say, excuse me. Let's try this again. Time is based on location unless you think it's the same time everywhere. Flat Earth doesn't have a map, so you can't tell location. To summarize, you cannot tell time using Flat Earth.
Okay.
Gotcha. You seems like he's okay. We got it. Thank you very much. And with that, folks, so sorry, but just to respect the time of the debaters as well as because I still have to do class prep for tomorrow. I am like dying and need to rest and get ready for tomorrow. So, want to say thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. Both of the speakers have their links in the description. So if you're like, that tune, can't get enough of them, or the plain truth, if you're like, boy, would I like to get more of that? Well, you can at those links below. Tune, you're such a sicko. Okay, you know I love these guys. This is better. You guys are like a funny odd couple together.
I'm not the sicko. You're the one with pictures of Steven Steen in a dress.
That's true.
Just saying.
That's true. I've got like sick things in my mind. Carl Christofferson just shot in a late super chat. They said, "Yes, just trolling. I think, quote, trust just misspoke."
I misspoke. Yeah, what? What did I misspeak?
Oh, I see. They're saying, oh, okay. So they're saying they're trolling because they were the one that originally brought up the 8 days in a week now. So they're saying that they think that you said 8 days in a week, but it was on accident. You meant 7, and they were just trolling you the first time.
So I said 8 days a week. I'm pretty sure those words did not come out of my mouth.
They're saying you must have said it on accident. So like they don't think that you
Okay,
actually
right.
believe that.
So yeah, so go back and give me the timestamp when I said it, then I can address your issue.
Gotcha. But we want to let you know, folks, it's always a pleasure to have you here. This honestly gets me in such a good mood. Even after like the saddest day, I have to be honest, before we started, I was a little bit, it was a hard day. It was a sad day. For real, it really was. And so it wasn't anything like super serious. But it was just kind of sad to, you know, I had a hard day and I was kind of bummed, but this put me in a good mood. And I have to say thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. Thank the speakers just for putting on this show, for debating here. We appreciate you both. It's been a pleasure. And so, yeah, with that, just want to say thanks so much for being here, guys.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
My one of my kids sent me a message on our Echo. Thank you very much. Yes, for having us on. It was entertaining and fun, and knowing now about your dress thing and Steven Steen is nightmares. Thank you.
Tried to keep it a secret. It just came out. Thanks, The Plain Truth. Thank you also for being here.
My pleasure.
So I appreciate that. And was that okay? Last. Oh wait, did we?
Oh yeah. I do have I have an after show. I heard Nathan Thompson does as well. So if just find on my channel, you can just link over to there.
Absolutely. And we can even, if you guys, if anybody from any side wants to do an after show, you can send us the link and we'll put it in the description. And so if you're watching this right now, there might be a direct link in the description, although in this case, like Toon said, if you click on his link, it'll be the first thing you see when it'll say like live, on his page. So, but,
Sent it to you.
Thank you very much.
Now, there you go.
Appreciate that. That's convenient. Efficiency, you like it. And we're excited. We're trying to put together a couple of debates right now. This is like, I wouldn't say pipe dreams. It's not that unlikely. But we're hoping to have a debate with, let's see. We were hoping to have a debate with Matt Dillahunty and Johanan Rotz. We're setting it up. We're excited for it. It's going to be epic. And we're also, as you can see on the bottom right of your screen, excited for March in person, live in Los Angeles. Destiny and Vosh will be crossing swords. And it's going to be epic, folks. So, very excited for that. I'm grabbing that link right now. Thanks for your patience, Toon. So keep an eye out for that link from that, let's see, for Toon's after show, and keep sifting out the reasonable from the unreasonable, folks. Take care.